I don't know why I like doing that anymore.
Well, good evening, or good morning, or good afternoon, or good very early 3 a.m. if you're an insomniac. This is YouTubers United. I'm Will. I'm joined by my co-host Tristan. This is the podcast by growing YouTubers for growing YouTubers, and we have a lot of topical stuff to talk about today because there's been a lot of stuff going on in the YouTube world. And the first thing we wanted to talk about, Tristan, was the Project for Awesome. So this is a yearly event, and the organizers are the Green Brothers, are they not?
Yeah, it's... So I guess what the plan was, like, really a long time ago, the Brothers Green and a few other big YouTubers of, like, 2006 were like, hey, we figured out how to game the YouTube algorithm and make it so that, you know, the top videos all over YouTube for, like, 2 days were going to be videos about charity, and then they were going to raise money for charity. And it's kind of exploded into this entire system. And I think they just closed up about 20 minutes ago and raised, like, $2 million for big assortment of charities. So it's a pretty big yearly event, and for some reason this year I decided that I was going to throw my hat in there, and I made a video about it.
I think it's great that people are gaming like, this is the only time of the year when people game the algorithm for a good cause. Every time else, people are just putting boobs in the thumbnails or spamming keywords in the description. But no, now we're doing it for charity. And like you said, you participated, so why don't you tell the folks about your video and how people responded to it?
Yeah, so I had heard that Project for Awesome videos tend to actually result in you losing subscribers because it kind of has you go, as we've kind of discussed, like, off your main beaten path of what your videos are about. So, although I've had a net growth over the last couple days, it's really slowed down growth, I imagine, because the influx of new viewers that come from getting, like, you know, the Project for Awesome attention are kind of offset by the loss of subscribers for people who are like, this isn't what I expected, unsubscribe.
It's interesting. I never thought about it. And I would never, like, you see people upload announcements and update videos all the time, and you figured if they might lose subscribers when they do that, but that doesn't seem to stop anyone from doing it. It seems ridiculous that anyone would not post a charity video because they're afraid of losing 10, 100 subscribers or something.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how it works out. I mean, maybe we could go into a little bit more in depth about what I did, but my video was... So everybody's encouraged to make a video about a 501c3 charity that you make a video about, maybe like a 2 to 4 minute video. Mm-hmm. You put it on this website, and then people vote on it, and the charities that get the best votes get like a part of the pool of money they're raising over this whole campaign. Mm-hmm. And my video was luckily riding like the front page of like most viewed videos for actually quite a while, until like the really big channels started making stuff.
Right. And
while the video itself is underperforming, like compared to like a regular step back video, I'm still happy I made it. It was something kind of for my conscience more than like something I would just do for growing the business, if you will.
Yeah, I was going to ask if it, like, obviously it's for a good cause. Setting that aside is the number one reason. Were you hoping to like do some community development with this, or was it just for fun because you wanted kind of to get in there with the other YouTubers participating, like almost like not your community but like a YouTube community thing? Like, what were you going for there?
Well, I'm not much of a joiner, so I didn't really do it to be part of like a bigger, like, I just didn't do it because I just wanted to be part of something. I did it because I have, like, in my own life, a fairly strong love for the Southern Poverty Law Center. Mm-hmm. I've been, like, you know, secretly wondering if I could ever work for them in my life and stuff like that. So when I found out that they were doing the Project for Awesome, I thought this might be an opportunity to have me talk about this organization I care about a lot, and especially after I did my thing from the angle of, like, you know, after the Trump election, we're probably going to need someone like the Southern Poverty Law Center. So I was very much in the vein of, like, this is an important time to make this video. I'm going to do it. I thought maybe if I'm going to be a little bit cynical, that it might have exposed me to some new viewers. But that would involve things like, it's kind of a lottery in that sense. They do a 48-hour-long stream, and they feature some of these videos, but mine wasn't featured. So there was the chance that I could have gone up on, like, the Vlogbrothers stream and had a bunch of people see my video, but it didn't happen. But, I still think in the long run it was worth it for me out in any way. Also, as you know, because I had you look at my script for this, the research I did to make this short video is bleeding over into my Next Step Back project anyway. And my Next Step Back video, that'll come out probably in about, I want to say 10 days is like the very, very conservative release date. Is largely like built from the research I did while making this video anyway.
That's the perfect. This is the perfect thing. I need to implore our audience. Okay, our email is ytunitedpodcast@gmail.com. If you type in ytunitedpodcast in any social media except for like Instagram, you're gonna find us. So Facebook, Twitter, whatever. Tweet at us or email us and tell us. If you're a YouTuber, which I think if you're listening, you are, have you uploaded any videos in like the span of time from around the 19th of December until New Year's Eve? And if you did, and it wasn't related to Christmas, how did that video perform? Because I've been considering uploading something during the holidays. I'm leaning now towards just going ahead and saying, no, I'm going to do it on New Year's Day, which the next day is a working day and it's a Sunday. It seems like a decent option. But I know like lots of big YouTubers that don't upload in the holidays. And I know part of it's because the ad rates will drop as soon as Christmas hits or like as soon as Christmas is over. But I don't know. If anybody's listening and has any insight that they can provide us, that'd be fantastic. Because I guess if you're saying you're going to upload in 10 days, that would put you right up along like we're doing this on the 11th, sorry. So it'd be the 21st, the 22nd of December, right before Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't made a video this month. And I want to get it done.
Yeah.
And also, I remember how I said that I charge my subscribers at the beginning of December for Patreon.
Yes, I do.
So I want to have something in December to at least say that they did something, that they paid for something this month.
Right.
But also, I don't worry about these things that much. I try to see my work in the bigger scheme of things. Mm-hmm. And I know that by making a video, it'll come out on the 22nd, and I'm not, when it comes to ad rates, I don't particularly care about ad rates. Mm-hmm. Because, the money from AdSense is so small in the overall scheme of things once you get into, like, crowdfunding, that I feel like I'd rather make a video for my patrons than make a video for the ads.
No. For me, it's not a question of AdSense and ad rates. I don't care about ad rates. I mean, obviously, if I get a nice ad rate, that's great. But no, it's not my focus. My focus is on, will the video be visible if I upload? Like, if you upload a video on Christmas, it's not going to go viral because people are not watching on Christmas. My question is, where is that range? Like, where does the gray area begin, and how bad is it? Because I assume on Christmas Eve and Christmas, nothing's going to get big. That doesn't have to do with Christmas. I can only assume. If anyone has any data, I'd love to see it. So for me, it's just a question of, okay, visibility will be better if I just wait 5 or 6 days. That's assuming I get the video finished, because my productivity is just awful right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's some other things too, keep in mind. When you make a video, it's also going to exist until 70 years after you die, making money for you.
Right.
So, things have long tails online. And I guess, if we're only talking about, like, a handful of days, then that's fine. But keep in mind, when it comes to, like, algorithms, and when it comes to regularity and having people who are, like, happy to see you, like, if you can get out a video within, like, that, I guess what people are saying is, like, a 4-week window, where they still consider you a regular YouTuber, then that's good. But, in the end, I have a different relationship with my videos, I think, because I'm always, like, when I have a video finished, I'm always thinking, why am I sitting on this? I want my, I want my subscribers to get it as soon as possible, because it's done, and it's, like, sitting there, and but maybe that's why maybe that's why my channel has a little bit of a stunted growth. So,
Well, no. I mean, I agree. I totally agree. But it's just this one period of time here. Like, this is just an awkward period of time at Christmas. So, anyway, we can keep going. But if anybody has any information, let us know. And one other thing before we jumped into the real meat of the conversation today, is that was last week we talked about the new algorithm, and we're going to be talking about that some more this evening where I am. I guess it's midday where you are, Tristan. And one of the things that we mentioned was that I put comments and I pin comments to my comment sections that have links to more videos in them, videos that I think that people would be interested in if they just finished watching my video. So my video about Berlin has more videos about Berlin in a pinned comment below. The idea behind that is to get people to increase their watch time by clicking that. And I've seen that done by, we talked about last week, Vsauce. They did it with a playlist that they linked and pinned to the top of the comment section. I just wanted to give a little disclaimer out there because people have responded to that on places like YouTube Talk and just people within our own little circle in a positive way and wanted to run with it. Just wanted to give the disclaimer that I don't know for a fact that doesn't just kill your watch session. Like, I think it's a good thing. I'm using it personally, and I think, Tristan, you have a piece of data that goes along with it. But I just wanted to be clear that I don't know for sure that is a positive thing. I'm not a YouTube expert, and I have not talked to anyone from YouTube about whether it's a good idea.
Yeah, so as somebody who's also not a YouTube expert, I just want to talk about... So after our podcast last week, I tried to do this on a couple of my more popular videos. So I've done it so far on my Sikhism video, my Islam video, and I think my video, my first part of the pre-Columbian contact theories videos series.
Mm-hmm.
And I went really simple. So I made, when I made for these videos, I made like playlists for each one. So I made on the ISIS video a playlist of like Islamic history videos that I've been involved with. So this video, the video I made with you on your channel, and some stuff I've done like on other Muslims and such in U.S. history and everything, or in history. And then I did, for Sikhism, like a playlist of all of my religion videos, because I have a handful of those. And then I did a link to the whole series in the Columbus video. And I'm just looking at the analytics now, and on the days that I did those, I am noticing it's a little early for the data to really pan out, but I am seeing a slight uptick in browse feature response.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to break down the... Like, there's the director unknown, because that's where, like, those links would come from, right?
Right.
I'm seeing a maybe slight uptick in those, so I'd have to see how this pans out over a longer period of time, but it seems to me...
It's interesting that you even looked to see where because I just considered it was a lost cause to try to figure out if people were clicking. I just kind of went with unless I could put one of those tracking links, but then that definitely does end the watch session. So you have to give that pure YouTube link, and I just figured, well, I'll never know. It's interesting that you're saying, I guess you have to go to the linked playlist to see its sources of traffic. I guess you could look at the playlist analytics. That would be a way to do it.
Yeah, I do have one question as well, and this is something that would be interesting to think about, but I'm not sure if any of us would get an answer. And that is there... Would it be considered the end of a session time if you have a link that you click on, and instead of going to another video watch page, it goes to a playlist page? Because there's like a playlist page you go to, and then you have to push the play all, right?
I don't think it does. Again, everyone... We give you our advice as growing YouTubers who are not YouTube experts, but just trying to figure this out for ourselves. What I have heard from others is that the counter is on YouTube itself. Like, are they staying on the YouTube site? For example, this community tab that's coming in. If somebody is interacting with you on the community tab, I don't know how this is going to work, but they're not leaving the platform if they're interacting with you in some way. So I don't think that if you lead them to a playlist that would end the session, but I don't know for sure. That's a good question, because in the end, they're not just clicking straight into the next video and like just directly watching the next thing.
Yeah, so that's something to think about. I am pretty sure that we're in a good spot though when it comes to this, because like I think that it will work. It might be like it's not going to be the panacea for your YouTube channel, but it is one of the things that you should do when making a video to slightly, do everything you can to make sure that it's as easy as possible for someone watching your video to watch more videos, especially watch more of your videos.
Yeah, it is a risk. We should be clear. It is a risk because we don't know for sure. That being said, if you look over at the recommended, it's not always what you want to see. And this gives you a level of editorial control of like, well, if you watched my long video about this topic, well, then you're probably interested in this. I'm a human and I'm making a human decision. I guess one could argue that the YouTube algorithm can make that decision better, but the YouTube algorithm is already getting real estate on the end of the video in the form of cards, in-screen cards, and then in the form of the recommended videos on the side. So this is just, you're just taking a little real estate to kind of say, well, maybe a long video about the same topic would interest you more than whatever YouTube thinks is best. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're kind of entering a gray area here.
It's also a pinned comment. It's not going to make or break the video.
No.
So, it's one of the million. What is really the YouTube experiences? It's one of the millions of small things you should do to just lubricate your video's growth just a little bit more.
There you go.
To use as gross a metaphor as I can think of.
There you go. It's not going to make or break your video, but it could be nice. If nothing else, for me, the reason I started doing it was not a watch session thing at the start. The reason I did it was like, oh, this is nice. Like, I kind of like providing value to my subscribers here. Like, they can learn where I learned, because originally it was just my sources. And so for me, it was like a service to my little community at the time. And then at some point it occurred to me, hey, that's actually not such a bad thing if we're considering session time. Anywho, I thought we would, speaking of algorithms and watch time and all that good stuff, I thought we'd follow up a little bit on what we were speaking about last week. We talked about the algorithm changes. Pewdiepie, H3H3, Boogie 2988, and others were chiming in saying that they were losing 30 to 40% of their views, and it all kicked in a couple months ago. And they all freaked out, and there was some serious fallout, but we don't want to focus on that, because in the ensuing days and weeks, we've had some more level-headed YouTubers who have jumped in. Tristan, have you kind of seen some of this content? Like people who have more to say, maybe data-driven ways of approaching this subject?
Yeah, so I'm going to go with, we watched, your favorite is Roberto Blake. Mm-hmm. And I've kind of read a few blog posts on it. And so let me wrap it up, what I think has changed. What's causing this, 433rd YouTube civil war that's going on right now. And
the
let me know
YouTube civil war.
Yeah, and let me know. Oh, it's way more than annual. And let me know what you think, if you think I'm hitting it on the head here. So it looks like, without they're doing this is of course algorithm voodoo again, but a lot of channels are seeing a decline in their views. Mostly, as they would say, from areas that are like what we were talking about, where YouTube's algorithms are supporting you, so browse features and such. And it seems to be on these channels that are extremely large, that have a lot of subscribers. And the reason that people are thinking is that the new algorithm update promotes a video based on the percentage of subscribers who are watching the video. Which is fine when you're, me, who, if I get 5,000 people watching my video, that's really good because I have 13,000 subscribers, so that is a doable number that will be very successful. But if you're Pewdiepie with 50 million subscribers, that means you're expected to rake in millions and millions of views for every video, or else it's going to underperform. Mm-hmm. And so what it seems they're saying is these channels that have lots of subscribers, because they're just famous. People are subscribed to Pewdiepie and they don't watch his videos, but they are subscribed to him because he's just the biggest YouTuber.
Right.
Is hurting his watch time. And PewDiePie had a mini meltdown about this, and I don't remember. I know he threatened to delete his account. I don't know if that's happened yet. But,
yeah, he hit 50 million. He came back a day later and said it was a joke, which of course the whole internet community rolled their eyes when that happened. But I guess the fundamental question he was asking, which you just addressed, is if you have a huge audience like he does, and you're not getting that 10-20% and invoking then the view velocity that we've talked about previously, that if you get enough of your subscribers in that first 24-48 hours to watch, then your video will outperform due to the algorithm boost that it will get. If that's just something unattainable for someone of his size, when like you said, people are just subscribing because, oh, there's the number one guy, he's probably the first one recommended when people first log on to the homepage. And that it's ironically could be working against him in these new changes. That's the theory.
So, what have you seen, or what have you read? Am I off by a large
No,
degree?
you're not. But I've found a couple creators who have gotten a little bit deeper down into the essence, and challenged something that we talked about last week. So let me work there. Let's start with just the gurus themselves, Tim, Derral, and Roberto, our holy trinity of YouTube experts. So Tim Schmoyer made a video. I don't want to, first of all, for these guys, I don't want to misrepresent what they're saying, but Tim basically got on and said, hey, listen, you should be thinking beyond algorithms. You should be thinking about community, have a target audience in mind, and basically algorithm-proof your channel. And that's very similar. So Tim made that kind of from an emotional argument perspective, and Roberto came in and did that from more of a metadata perspective. You should be algorithm-proofing your channel by focusing on metadata and tags and using TubeBuddy and so on and so forth. So they
all have their thing,
right,
that their theory about success on YouTube, and they're basically all saying, well, the solution to this is to do what I've been telling you to do all along.
Yeah, and they're not wrong. Like they're both right in their own way. Derral Eves came in with the more interesting video, my just personal opinion, because he came in with some data from these giant channels that he what do you call it?
Consults.
Yeah, he consults for these giant channels, and he was showing not what the algorithm was doing or what the change was, but rather just showing that there was a change and that YouTube was lying about it. And he was saying, like, here are my giant channels, here are upload days, and here are giant losses in subscribers. So either YouTube is lying or YouTube is messed up and they don't know about it. So that was interesting. But then this morning, I was able to watch a couple YouTubers who are not specialized in the algorithm, but which I think got this down to its essence and maybe address the elephant in the room. The first one was Veritasium, and he made a video saying, guys, we know what YouTube values, and it's watch time. And what YouTube has done ice cold is they've decided, and they've found out, that there are more minutes watched if YouTube recommends other things to you other than just who you're subscribed to. Like basically YouTube has found through some algorithm that they know better what you want to watch than you do. And yeah, YouTube wants to show the most new, the most shiny. And if you're subscribed to a channel, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's exactly what you want to watch. And the way he referenced that, of course, was emails. The emails that YouTube sends out. Someone deep in YouTube HQ figured out that if you recommend only things people are subbed to in those emails, people will click less than if you recommend a variety of things. People are more likely to click on something they don't know. At least that's what he was positive.
Yeah, YouTube has people who have advanced degrees in statistics working on this stuff.
Yeah. So that was one that I found interesting and it was ice cold, right? PewDiePie's complaining people who subscribe to me don't see my content. And the stone cold answer is, yeah, well, we're going to get more minutes watched on our website if we don't just promote every video you make, and we kind of give people a way to watch what we think is good for them before they click over to their sub tab. So that was, I think that's probably the realest answer you'll get. And then there was a little bit more of a big picture answer from the Game Theorist, who I think his claim to fame in these types of videos was he game theorized how PewDiePie got to 50 million subs in the first time. And what he theorized from some of the channels that he operates, which he operates quite a few from what I was hearing, is that what's important is engagement per day, and not just likes and all that. That's not relevant, but rather if you're uploading every day, are people watching every day? Like, what percentage of people are watching your daily uploads? Like, whatever your upload frequency is, whether it's a week or every day, how many people are watching based on your frequency? Like, what is your engagement based on if you're daily uploading? And which he posited towards the end, it was a little depressing. He was saying, who's the best at doing this? Who's the best at getting up engaging content that people will watch every day? And the answer really is the big broadcasts, the professionals. And I think he cited the Late Show with Stephen Colbert and your Corbyn's, whatever that guy is, the Late Show with that and the Late Show with this guy. Your professional broadcasters who are repackaging their content for YouTube are going to always triumph in frequency and most likely also in engagement. So basically, the idea is the new algorithm is not just minutes watched, but rather engagement. Like how often are people clicking on your videos? And basically just said that the treadmill for the big YouTubers is getting faster and faster, and it's going to be harder and harder to keep up. So a bit of realism from Veritasium and a little bit of pessimism from the Game Theorist about where YouTube's headed. And again, it goes back to what we were saying with Netflix and creating really good content, but it does contradict what we thought about, which was maybe daily content isn't the best. That's clearly wrong. It's daily content that people will actually watch, not just uploading every day for the sake of it.
Yeah, and this also speaks, so it means like, I think that's really good. That's a really good way to do it, honestly, because if you think about it, in the long term, we were talking last time about how different ideas of the algorithm either encourage people to make infrequent but really long and really good videos, or really frequent short videos, and you're like, well, which one's better, which one's worse? And this one kind of means that, like, if you're good at daily content, then you'll be rewarded for doing good daily content. But if you do like longer form, less common content, that'll also work.
Mm-hmm. I think to wrap up what I've learned, and just to do it quickly, is I originally kind of rolled my eyes when I listened to Tim Schmoyer and Roberto Blake, because they basically said, the algorithm changed. Here, like you said, do what I've always been telling you to do. But in the end, I think that kind of emotional thing of know your audience, know what they want, and make sure that even if the algorithm is not promoting you, that people feel like they need you and they go and look for your little face in the sidebar and click it, that you're creating a community that is real, that has a real audience that needs you and wants to see your face or see your animation. In the end, that's really the only way to do this. And there's going to be your pranksters who game the system. There's going to be your professionals now. We know your professional broadcasters, your Seth Meyers and your Stephen Colberts. You're just going to have to, as an independent, you're going to have to survive in this ecosystem, because YouTube is going to keep editing this algorithm to make sure that they're getting as many minutes watched on the website as possible. And that's it. That's the bottom line. There's nothing else to it.
I wouldn't even be surprised if it's some sort of machine learning algorithm that actually takes all of these different metrics and actually like adjusts in real time based on what it sees as more successful, and it could be just evolving all the time. This is why, like, I think if there's one thing we could take away from this whole lesson is that we really need to stop doing algorithm voodoo. Because I honestly, because of like how Google's really invested in artificial intelligence, that the algorithm is something that probably learns constantly on a daily basis, and it's not even being controlled by humans anymore. It's just, it knows, it has a metric on what it wants. It knows it wants more people watching more YouTube videos and watching more ads.
Well, you're not. I mean, the algorithm is a robot. We know that. The question. I mean, but you're asking is it an autonomous robot? I doubt it at this point, but maybe they're working towards that goal.
I work in artificial intelligence. I know a lot about this, and so the thing is, if you have that, and you also have all sorts of other metrics that you can use to weigh, like likes, dislikes, comments, engagement, sharing. Click through, session time, watch time, like they have all of that data. All you really need to do is build an algorithm that tweaks what it promotes based on, different contingencies of all of those factors, and sees which results in more watch time, and then go with that, and then try something else afterwards. And it could be doing this all the time forever.
Right.
So, honestly, it's probably something like that, and it's probably changing, like, day to day, minute to minute. And it's probably not something that we can really game.
No, there's no gaming. I mean, that's even if it weren't, even if it were manually controlled or something. In the end, we're in the dark as to what the algorithm is. Minutes watched and be as engaging and as upload as often as you can, and still maintain engagement is the only way to go. It's the only sure thing.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Make videos that people want to watch.
What do you know?
That's it. That's it. Who'd have known that making good videos that people want to watch and then watch the ads on those was the whole trick this whole time?
Yeah. I guess there's just that human, like, I don't know the answer to a question, I must know, that fundamental caveman peering into the dark that needs to see a light, needs to have the answer of what made that noise. And that's what we are now, thousands and thousands of years later, with a YouTube algorithm.
Well, our brains,
what the puzzle is.
I think it's because our brains like to look for patterns. And as we know, with things like Bigfoots and ghosts and UFOs, sometimes we like to see patterns in things that aren't there. Mm-hmm. And that's just kind of the way we are. But and there's people who are, banking their entire careers on trying to make you think that there is an algorithm that they can figure out and do stuff with. And so I think it's important to know that it's probably more advanced than people can really figure out through this data.
Mm-hmm. Which is why, I hearkened back to old Tim there, who kind of had it, like, he hit the nail on the head, know your audience and get out good content. Okay.
Yeah, Tim Schmoyer, everything that Tim Schmoyer does, I mean, he's, I guess, my Roberto Blake in that sense.
Oh, okay. This is something new. This has never been done in the podcasting world. We're going meta on the YouTube gurus. That's insane.
Oh, boy. But, yeah, make good videos. That's my actionable advice. If you're worried about making a video regular or making a good video or whatever, what you should be doing is making a good video that people want to watch. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, your backup to that is go watch Roberto Blake and learn the search engines. Because, in the end, if you can get in the search, if you can rank in search, then you won't disappear forever. You're guaranteed that humans are looking for the thing that you're tailoring your videos for. So
search is a whole new thing, because search is you trying to make sure that your video has a long tail. But even so, I do know that one of the things that YouTube's considering doing in their long-term plan is to mine things from metadata, so from the title and from the description and from the transcript of the video, and from doing a sort of OCR or optical character recognition on the video itself. They're going to use a mix of these things to get the sort of data that the spiders need to rank and figure out what things are about. And I think their long-term plan is to just get rid of tags.
Yeah, I've heard that they've become relatively irrelevant, but that being said, like my tags have helped me. I can rank for the tags that I'm putting in. So I think it probably does help at some point. But yeah, that's a whole other topic for another time. We'll do search. We'll do a special on search at some point, or we'll bring in somebody who's like a super expert on it, who maybe does like a how-to channel. If you're a how-to YouTuber, email us ytunitedpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, we want to start doing guests on this show as soon as we can. So if you think you have something unique and powerful to say about either YouTubing in general or your specific genre of YouTubing, please come on and talk to us.
So I wanted to go ahead and talk about my community. Previously, we've talked about it, and I guess this never got published, but we had talked about my community. I was frustrated when we first started recording this podcast, not because of the podcast, but because of the things that were happening on my channel at the time. I had just crossed 10,000 subscribers. I had that Islam video that got really big, and the comment section was a swamp. and it was totally out of control. And I was frustrated because I felt like I didn't have a community, that, the people that were commenting and interacting with my content were trolls or were people who were just there to criticize and not in a constructive way. And that, like people who actually appreciated the things that I was making were just getting buried. I had 2 videos where I had that problem, one about Brexit and one about Islam. And so you gave me some recommendations. And the first one was to go ahead and utilize this new program YouTube has. That is to promote people in the comment sections, regular viewers who you trust and know, as comment moderators. And so I did that. I added you, actually. I don't know if I told you that.
Oh, I should go. So I'm gonna go moderate some of your comments.
There you
now.
go. Don't go crazy. And I added a couple personal friends of mine, and then the people who had, consistently been asking me questions and talking to me since I was much, much smaller. I went ahead and invited some of them personally, and they agreed. So I've got a little team now. I don't know how many of them are actually active. I've followed up with a couple of them just to see how it's going, and that's helped. So that was step one, was kind of getting the comment sections under control, specifically for my new upload about Berlin. And that's really the only test case I have so far. If you compare my YouTube comments to what was on Reddit, both were pretty positive, and there was a little bit of negativity, but Reddit had a considerably higher amount of negativity, and that's because there was a lot of language in those comments that are now part of a blacklist. Words that are now part of a blacklist in my YouTube settings, in my community settings. So if you are managing a community and you are having trouble with people cussing and just kind of posting garbage in what should be a place for discussion, which I want my comment section to be, the impossible task, go ahead and create a blacklist of things that you don't want people to say. Think of all the cuss words that you wouldn't want to see in your comment sections, insults you wouldn't want to go to other members of your community. Just blacklist them. They'll disappear.
I'll also want to mention, though, when it comes to blacklisting, a good thing to do, put your personal information in there in case somebody tries to dox you. So if somebody puts like your real name, your address, anything like that, try to put that in the blacklist as well, so that it catches it, so that you don't want it to be up for a while until you catch it. You want it to be caught until you can see whether what it is. So things like your phone number and your address and stuff like that.
Awesome. Yeah, I was rambling a little bit, but basically my update is that I had a much better experience on my Berlin video because I stayed on top of the comment section. So I was making sure that the bad and super inappropriate things that were being said at times about certain groups were being deleted. I didn't delete constructive criticism, but I did delete malicious criticism. I did delete cussing. I did delete the Germans deserved their punishment when the Soviets reinvaded. Like the crazy stuff. It was gone. And for that, I think that set a tone in the comments section to where the longer it went on, the less I had to do that. It's almost like the Islam video was negative from the get-go, or at least after my subs had seen it and the algorithm picked it up, it got really bad really fast, and it just kind of accelerated from there, and it never got back under control. And I feel like with the Berlin video, because I stayed on top, it's as big as the Islam video, but the comment section is clearly much, much more productive. There's anecdotes from people from Germany, and it's just wonderful. So I don't know if I can keep that up forever, but at least in the short term, the combination of me, the community moderators, and the filters have created a much more amenable environment in the comment section.
Yeah, makes sense to me. I think that there are some key things that you got into there that are good for our listeners to take away. Mm-hmm. And one is, it's the perennial internet conversation, right? You like civil discourse and people being nice to each other, and you also like free speech. And those two are kind of paradoxical on the internet, especially in YouTube comment sections. Mm. And so you have to really think about what do you want to delete and what you don't want to delete. And people have been agonizing over this. I think every YouTube channel at some point has agonized over what they're going to do. But I think you've hit on a good sweet spot here, and this is one that I think leads to a reduction in toxicity in your community, but also makes your comment section something that's an interesting place to go to and not a place where they're afraid to criticize you. And that is, keep in mind that there's something called arguing in bad faith.
Yeah. And
arguing in bad faith is where you are not arguing a point with the intention of trying to convince somebody, or the intention of, picking apart their strongest argument. You are intentionally either using their weakest argument or misrepresenting them or doing something in order to, quote, win, not so much to actually have a conversation. Mm-hmm. There's also something called sea lioning, which is new to me, and I actually am now a little bit more aware of, which is when somebody who isn't really interested in asking real questions, but just starts asking you like barrages of questions and seeming like they're just, I'm just looking up for information, but this is like stuff they could very easily Google to find out themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And this can just kind of spam your, overwhelm you. And it was used a lot by the Gamergate people that kind of started it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's an attempt to kind of waste your energy answering pointless questions that they could figure out themselves.
Yeah, which I have you mentioned you're doing something against that, correct? Are you?
My thing right now is that when it comes to the Islam video, I think we had a discussion about this. We've almost like given up on that comment section because it's kind of just turned into a beast in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were to go in and start hacking things down, like now comment threads that started as like nasty, spite words have turned into like multi-threaded conversations that are sometimes good and sometimes awful. You'd have to like really like just burn the whole thing down and start over if you want to save the comment section. But now I just don't engage with simple questions. If somebody has a question that shows that they are legitimately asking a question that might be difficult to just Google themselves, then I'll go for it. Or if they just keep asking questions over and over again, I just disengage. Or let somebody else who's in the comment section answer it for you.
I've got a personal rule about how comments start. I've just noticed that 100% of the time when a comment starts with "you do realize that," it's always like if it starts with "you do realize that blah 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 blah," it's always like malicious and negative. Like almost always. I guess I shouldn't say 100%, but I always find that those are the comments that are like. It's just that snark. I never delete that stuff because it's not like it's still in the end it's like on the line of malicious and constructive criticism, but I always just don't read those personally because I'm just trying to like when I go in to manage comments, I'm just trying to save emotional energy. I just want to have a nice community. I want to have nice discussions. I don't want a bunch of hate in my comment sections about me or about other groups of people. So my rules are really not that strict, but yeah, I just try to save my emotional energy as I'm going through doing that. Hey, I wanted to ask you just on the fly, your personal opinion on something, and then maybe we can get on to a Q&A. Would you consider, like, I've been thinking about trying to find another place to send my audience to engage with me. So we obviously there's social media, but what a lot of people seem to do is they open a second channel that's just like, it's a lot less well produced. It's just kind of random things from their lives or whatever they're thinking about. And I was thinking of doing something like that. I was considering waiting till the community tab opened and then just using that. So I'm having a tough decision now of, do I open a second channel and kind of encourage some dialogue there, or do I, wait until that community tab rolls out, which I honestly don't know when that's going to happen at this point. The YouTube has not told anyone when that's going to be available for all YouTubers.
So there's a few answers to that. This is another one of those like really up in the air things, but there are some people who are really discouraging of making multiple YouTube channels because you're sort of starting from the ground zero. But also there's people who think it's a good idea because when you make a channel, people expect a certain type of content and they don't want it to, and if that's violated, then they're not happy. I would say, in this situation, waiting for a community tab and seeing what they have in the way of posting videos, I think would be a good option. And for now, I would say if you want to have something that's lower produced and it's just you having something so that you can interact with your audience on a more common basis, you'll probably do best by either pushing them onto Twitter or Instagram or Snapchat. Those are like the most like on the ground, your audience, nothing else. I think that would be the better places to go. And I actually have a small cohort of step back viewers on Snapchat that I interact with regularly, and it's been pretty fun.
Funny. Okay.
And Twitter as well. And I think that the only thing, though, and this is kind of me channeling Tim's stuff when it comes to social media, is that only open up social media channels that you're willing to invest in. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to get a Snapchat, snap. Or if you're going to go, if you're going to push people onto Twitter, tweet a lot. Like, you have to kind of do the thing that you plan on doing.
Yeah, no, totally. I think maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here because if I'm thinking like when would be the logical time to launch just like a second channel of just no schedule whatsoever, just chill as heck videos, sometimes with totally illogical videos, just whatever I want. That's, that level of YouTubers that do such a thing are much bigger than I am or will be in the next year. Like we're talking about million sub plus YouTubers that do something like that. So I'm probably better off just waiting to see what the community tab has to offer for me as a smaller YouTuber. And if it's just that bad, then, 5 years or whatever from now, I can look into getting a second channel.
Yeah, it really depends upon what you're looking for, because, like, I'm actually considering starting, like, a live stream channel. And this is mostly because I've just been so intrigued by some of these channels that I've been obsessed with in the last, like, 6 months, like your friend Christy Winters or Kevin Logan, and like a few other of these like smaller YouTube channels that really just do these hot take videos that are just live streams.
Yeah.
And
I know you said you binge that all the time.
Yeah, and I've been in this situation where I'm like, I just really want to say something about a thing that just happened. Where can I do that? And I don't have a place to do it. And even though likely nobody will or should care about what I think about something, it's been on my mind to be like, what if I did like live hangouts with other YouTubers and like kind of just had it on its own channel and it was just this fun thing. But, I've been hesitant to really go at it because...
Plus, you're gonna get if we're talking about comment sections, oh my god, those comment sections are the worst ever.
Yeah, I seem to be a magnet for hate anyway, so it's just gonna be my life.
I'll never look in your comment section if you do that. But yeah, first of all, your idea that no one would or could or will listen to what you have to say, yeah, you have a YouTube community now with like well over 10,000 people, over 13,000 if I'm not mistaken. So people care. I guess your real question is, what format will people care on? Because people care what you have to say.
It's just that, like, I had a vlogging channel before, and it didn't work out.
I think it's one of those things where if you already have authority, people will care. Like, people will just give you more credibility if you're a bigger person, rather than just if you're literally starting out at zero, then you have no authority yet.
Yeah, there's a couple things about it. I just don't want to get wrapped up into it.
Yeah. And
I don't think you want to get wrapped into it. And I'm thinking if I made it into a YouTube channel, I'd be worried about growth and everything like that. But
yeah.
But I kind of get where you're at, because I kind of just want a thing where I can just push on and talk about something really fast. And especially you, because you're in politics, and it'd be really good because you have said that you have a political channel, but you're kind of morphing it into bigger, more evergreen topics, and that's kind of like and educational, and that's the kind of thing you're going for.
Mm-hmm.
And so you having a channel where you can kind of just off the cuff give your hot take on the news thing that happened today would probably go over really well with your audience.
Mm-hmm.
Mine, I'm not sure, but it would definitely work, I think, in your case.
I hope so, but I'm not ready to do that yet. Like, I would never do that until... I would never do that. I'd never say never, but I wouldn't do that until I was comfortably and sustainably living this YouTuber life. Right now, I'm trying to balance producing videos, which honestly, I'm behind schedule on my video right now, way behind. I'm trying to balance doing this podcast and working as a teacher, and my personal life is busy with visa stuff, and I'm starting school at some point in 2017, and so there's a lot of things to balance, and so there's no space for me to start playing with things that have no direct value until that's ready to go. I'd like to give my community a place to go. Until then, my community has a place. It's the channel I already have and am building right now.
Yeah, so if you want to see Will's hot takes, you better start get more subscribers for him.
Yeah, there you go. Everyone.
Will's hot cakes.
Your
hot cakes.
Oh no!
Because you're what's it called? You're a Texan, right?
Yeah.
Flapjacks. Hotcakes.
Oh god.
So Will's hotcakes.
Yeehaw!
I actually had an idea for a channel where I was like, I always have like ideas for channels, and I was like, no, Tristan, stick one thing, do it. Because I'm like, what if I did a channel where you took those like 1950s gross recipes and actually made them, and then forced me to eat them? And I was like, that would be a great idea because people love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, yeah, but then I'd have to do it. And I'm like, oh, right.
I was watching with my wife. We were watching BB's Beauty Palace, which is the biggest female German YouTuber. She's got like over 4 million subs, and it's her and her boyfriend who's incredibly annoying. They're both just. I mean, I don't want to rag on other YouTubers, but for me, it's just not my content. I can't watch it. The target audience is very clearly 12-year-old German girls, which I'm not. And they do their makeup all the time, and they're making so much money that it is unbelievable. They give out like iPads every episode. They've got like a massive email list. They do cosmetic sponsorships. They get a million plus views per video. Just killing it on YouTube. And I just thought, like, there's lots of opportunities to make a killing on YouTube if you're willing to kind of sell your soul or like go. I mean, I'm sure she enjoys what she does, right? But for me, it would be selling my soul to go and like do those kind of product sales and to push that sort of thing. But it is possible. So those ideas come in your head, and then you got to kind of push them away and say, no, I've got a bigger purpose here. I'm trying to educate the masses, not rake in the millions. At least not yet.
And I think that they're, like they said, she's doing sponsorships and stuff like that. That's where the real money is. And I think that like with something that you do, that there are people who will come to you. There's like, there's companies like the Great Courses Plus and Audible and things like that really like look for content like yours and will advertise on it. So stick with it.
Yeah,
there is a market for what you're doing.
Yeah, which we should do. We should have someone come on in the future and consult you and me on sponsorships. Like that'd be a great way to kick off 2017. Bring in somebody who's done some sponsorships and like see if they'll give us some advice and kind of talk about their experiences, because I don't know even how to get started besides just like cold calling and making offers or trying to sign up for affiliates. I don't even have any idea how to do that.
Or get an agent.
Oh, man. Ooh, an agent. So, are we ready to do a Q&A? Anything else to talk about with community?
No, let's do it. Let's ace some Qs.
All right, let's ace some Qs. Remember, if you have a Q for us to A, go ahead and send it to ytunitedpodcast@gmail.com. Tweet us at ytunitedpodcast or facebook.com/ytunitedpodcast. The first question today is, are the first 100 subscribers the hardest to get as compared to the first 1,000, the first 10,000, the first 100,000, which neither of us have ever achieved?
Yes. Next question. Okay. If I'll give the first answer on this, the first 100 subscribers are by far the hardest ones you'll ever get, and this is because of something I've said on the show before, that the best way to get subscribers is to have subscribers. And the best way to have a successful video is to have other successful videos. And so when you're starting from nothing, there's a lot of like sources of traffic that come in from other things that you like, from already having success that you don't have. So like, say for me, if I were to look at like my average daily traffic, right? Mm-hmm. I would say that it comes largely from the kind of cross-pollination that happens. Like, I'm just looking at traffic sources right now. I'm very intelligently clicking through. And so, like, when I look at my top traffic sources, suggested videos, YouTube channels, which means people clicking on a video that's on my YouTube channel, search, browse features, and end screens. So out of those 5... 4 of them are ones that you probably won't see a lot of when you're getting your first 100 subscribers.
Yeah.
Because suggested videos are largely from other videos that you've already done. YouTube channels is people on your YouTube channel page, which, you have to have a video that they've clicked on through to check out anyway, so you have to have a library already to do it. Browse features are, as we've said, that's like the algorithm's candy, which is based on you performing well in certain, voodoo features. And end screens, which is also, other videos you've done. Mm-hmm. So the way to really branch out and grow this 100 subscribers and overcome this hump is really to do a couple things. One, you need to be looking for new audiences and really knowing what your target audience is and what you're going to look for. And this means really thinking about what your subscriber, what your ideal subscriber will be, what they want, what they don't want, those kinds of things, and make content that is designed to bring people into your channel. This is things that are like how-to videos, videos that are optimized for search. Look for things that there isn't a good video on, but are being searched often with TubeBuddy, and make things like to target down on those tags. The other one, and this is something that we've talked about before too, and this is like the best time to do it, and this is collaborate. So if you can, try to make videos with other videos who are other channels who are in the same subscriber range as you. Or try to see if you can even get bigger YouTubers to, if not work with you, at least like share one of your videos on their social media if you make something that's like in their wheelhouse. When I was a new YouTuber, I was constantly reaching out to channels, asking for advice, asking making friends, making connections, saying, hey, would you like to work on something in this vein? And sometimes I get success, and sometimes I wouldn't. And that's kind of the point. Like, it's like when you're starting a new business and you need to get your first customers. You need to actually go out and get those customers. Mm-hmm. And then you can kind of relax on your laurels a little bit once you get the snowball rolling a little bit more.
Yeah.
But those first subscribers, you're looking for new people who've never heard of your channel before to find you, and those are like the ways to do it.
I think what you said about search engine is the key. If you're a new channel, you need to be looking into SEO, because that is a way that a small channel can rank for certain things and get attention even with a low subscriber number. Of course, you can try to get attention in the algorithm, but your best bet at the beginning, SEO. And in that vein, I mean, for me, the first 100 on my first channel was just painful. It hurt. It really did. It took me, it was nearly a year to get 100 subscribers. October 20th, I actually went and looked this up since I knew we were going to be answering this question. October 20th of 2015, I crossed the 100 subscriber mark. I started in February. It took me a long time to get 100, and it hurt. Right, because you're just terrible. You don't know how to do anything. YouTubing looks easy from the outside. Once you get started, you realize how hard it really is to create something. For me, it was snail's pace, awful. The first 100 were just pitiful. And I remember the biggest frustration I had was I felt like I was putting in effort, which looking back, it was all cringe, but I felt like I was creating something that was of value, and I was seeing people who were just barely putting in any effort growing faster, and that drove me up the wall, which looking back was frivolous, because if you're looking at people at and around 100 subscribers, like, you are all going to be doing you're either all going to quit, or you're all going to be doing a lot more growing, at which point, 100 subscribers won't look as valuable to you. So you taking that 100 subscribers and just using that time to learn your lessons to improve your craft is the most important. Just for reference, it does get faster. Or at least it did for me. My 200 was then on the 24th of January. 300 was then less than a month later in February. That was about the time that I think we collaborated. 400 was in March. 500 was also in March, 20 days later. 1,000 was in June. 2,000 was in July. And then 10,000 was in September, and I just hit 40,000 a couple days ago, and that is now December 2016. So, I mean, it can speed up. That first 100 just really, really sucks. It's so bad.
I'll say on my end, I had a bit of we have like different trajectories, because I had a very quick start, and it's really slowed down since. So I got 100 subscribers about 2 months into the channel's creation.
Yeah.
Because I did a lot of these things. I came in, like I said, I started my channel with a really intense plan. And so I started my channel looking professional before I even made my first video. And I was already looking at people, talking about collaborations, getting people's advice and everything like that. And so I hit 100 subscribers. My first video came out in September, and my 100 subscribers I hit in late November.
Yeah, you were fast. I remember that. I remember from the time you wrote me to the time I responded, I think we were at almost the exact same number of subscribers, but I remember you kind of just came out of nowhere. And it felt to me at the time, I was like, oh man, this guy knows what he's doing. He's just about to like blow past me.
And then I hit 200 about January.
Yeah, it's the same time we all my numbers up until 10,000. I mean, we're pretty much like we were both in the same trajectory at that point. Yeah,
300 in February, 400 in March, 500 in March as well. 600 I think I hit also in March. March is a good month, I guess. April, I hit 700. 800, I hit in May. I hit 1,000. I remember I hit 900 in early June and 1,000 in June as well. Because I remember it was like I hit 1,000 subscribers around the time I got married.
Yeah.
And then everything went off the rails when I had the collaboration video with John.
Yeah. So.
And it's been kind of a slowly increasing rate of growth ever since. Like, you have to keep in mind, the hardest part of the first 100 subscribers is being disheartened. Because you have to really keep your hopes up. But know that, in a lot of ways, YouTube growth, subscriber growth is logarithmic. And so it seems really slow, and it just starts to snowball up and up and up and up, and then once you get into the subscriber singularity like PewDiePie, it's a different thing.
But don't forget our favorite thing, the trickle. Don't forget the trickle. Love the trickle, yeah? You're going to have bursts and you're going to have slow moments, and you just gotta embrace them all for what they are. And if you're under 100 subs and you're listening right now, you're going to do this, man or woman. You're going to do this, all right? Just stick with it, because I know it sucks. I remember being so upset at times when I'd upload something and I wouldn't get the views that I wanted. But you'll get there if you stick with it. You will. You will.
And also, as you grow, the trickle grows with you.
It does.
So as you do get bigger, as you have more ways that people can find your channel, you do get, like, your daily amount of, like, average, day-by-day subscribers does go up.
Very true. Okay.
Just don't do something like Trainer Tips or something where you banked your entire channel on the success of Pokemon Go, and then his channel is feeling the burn a little bit because no one's playing Pokemon Go anymore.
Ouch. I haven't seen that.
Yeah, he made a channel in July, shot up to almost 1 million subscribers in 2 months, and then has gotten down to I think about 400,000 now because of Pokemon Go's success. Yeah, don't tie your channel's success to another thing. Be a gaming channel, don't be a one game channel.
Just diversify as much as you can. I think someone like that in a normal circumstance would diversify at some point. Everybody's got their thing that'll rocket them a little bit, but you got to diversify. That sucks for him that Pokemon Go just the tire blew out so fast.
His channel was, it's an interesting channel story. His channel was to try and do a Casey Neistat style vlog alongside Pokemon Go.
Oh.
And now what he's trying to do is Pokemon Go is starting to flag in popularity, but now it has a consistent power user base. And he's trying to be really technical and really high-end Pokemon Go enthusiast type talk alongside his Casey Neistat style vlog. And he's still doing it daily, or at least 6 days a week, and it's I think he's stabilized. So I think he just had a huge surge, because again, he's going to stick with it, right? So he surged, he came back down, and now he's sort of feeling his way out. And he just recently went to Japan, so, obviously it's still awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool. I wish we should talk to him. Man, there's so many interviews to do in 2017. We got to get on it. Anywho, do we want to answer a second question, or do we want to go ahead and call it a day?
Oh, we need one more. It's a little bit longer, but I know that Tim right now is on the bus, and he wants to get the last question in because he still has another 10 minutes left. So let's do it.
Hello, Tim. How are you? Okay, so the second question is how to increase your comments. So I can only assume that this was based in someone who was another, like, so we had this under 100, this is like the under 100 Q&A, right? If you're under 100 subs, or if you're struggling to create interaction in your comment sections, what can you do to create more comments, more interactions?
Well, the number one advice that people have given everybody, like, and it's in the creator playbook, is just pose a discussion question of some kind, usually related to your video, but doesn't necessarily have to be. Mm-hmm. And just at the end of the video say, well, like, what do you think about this thing? And then say it down in the comments. And, that works really well for education channels. For gaming channels and stuff, that's where things get a bit more difficult. And you have to find something that your subscribers want to talk about. Mm-hmm. And some people, if you're, like, really desperate for comments, will do something like have a giveaway. And they'll be like, if you want to get in on this giveaway, you have to be subscribed and comment on this video with what you want, or something like that. But, I mean, it's a bit gimmicky, and you obviously can't keep that up forever. But if you want comments, you need to ask for them.
Yes. As well, I have some. So that's overarching advice Tristan gave. Oh man, it's been an hour. I'm going down in energy. No, we're good. We're good. I just want to give you some examples from people that we actually know. So I want to start with Patrick from Name Explain. If you don't know him, go check out his channel. He does etymological stuff. It's cool. And he does a random question of the video, and it's usually nothing to do with the video. Like, it's like literally he has a comment where he says, "Hey, what's your favorite sandwich?" Right? And he'll put that on the video about, like, the moon and why the moon is named a certain way. So they're not related, but just by creating kind of like a random discussion, it gives people an extra option to interact. And I think another really clear-cut way to do it is what our buddy Soliloquy does with his little Easter eggs. He's always hiding little Easter eggs in the comment sections. And a third example, I mean, people like to comment, right? If they see the Easter egg, then they go and they point it out. And then Ines over at Draw Curiosity, I noticed a couple times when I was watching some of her videos that she'll change her location or change her appearance. Like, I think on Halloween she dressed up, right? And so you give people things that are different, and it makes them want to, like, almost, they want to tell you, hey, I saw that you did something different, just so you know we're watching you. Kind of that kind of feeling with your audience. So by changing it up, by leaving little Easter eggs, and by, like you said, asking for questions, or by literally leaving a comment and starting a discussion yourself, those would be my 3 tips of advice.
Yeah. If you think about your average viewer, think of it from their perspective. What they'll want to do when they go for it, like when they will go to comment, it's either, one, they're a power user, and they're the kind of person who comments on a lot of stuff, which are people who watch a lot of YouTube videos, but are by far not the majority of people on YouTube. 2, they want to say something about your video. So this is either, as you said, this is the things where people are like, hey, I noticed a thing that happened in your video. It's either the Easter eggs, the change in appearance, little things like that. So if you can, always have interesting stuff going on in the background. And third is, they're literally answering a question that you asked them. I think those are like the 3 big ways to do it.
There is, like, the dark arts. We don't like to encourage magic of the dark arts on our show. First of all, we're muggles and not wizards, so that's not appropriate. But second of all, just bad, black hat kind of stuff. But I mean, we talked about it earlier. One guaranteed way to get a bunch of comments, you might not like them, but they will come, is, create something controversial. If you talk about religion or politics, you will get comments, and you probably won't enjoy it. It's like something out of a movie, right? When you make a deal with the devil, and then you are like, I want to live forever, and then you realize, that living forever requires that you have to watch, generations live and die, and it's like that, right? You can get comments. It's a guaranteed way, but it's gonna be horrible.
Yeah, that happened to me on one of my videos, my video about Islam, where professional hater of Muslims, Tyler Preston, made a video attacking my video with completely fallacious reasoning, but it led to a great day where I was getting a deluge of hate comments on that video for pretty much the entire, for several days actually. And I remembered it because it happened in the morning, and that morning, sometime overnight, there had been a power surge, like a blackout, and I guess my power bar didn't have a surge protector, so my computer was fried. Like, a motherboard was fried. I had to pay like $500 to go get it fixed.
Oh, no.
And so my computer was broken, and so all I had was my phone, where, like, I was just getting tons of these, like, just, you know, the worst comments you'll ever get. And you know that YouTube's app, like, even the creator app, is not very good for moderating comments.
No, it's bad because they don't filter out the garbage that they, like, filter out on the desktop version.
Yeah, so I was, like, you know, taking my computer to the shop and trying to just understand what's going on, and it was just a whole thing.
Man, so don't play with fire, everyone. That's the rule. And also, we have to just make one more note. Dale from Think Fact. If you are listening to this, first of all, if you got an adrenaline rush from having your name called out randomly, that's cool. But second of all, you asked us a question that we wanted to answer, and I saw your comment, and I saw your question, and then I forgot it, and then the comment, I just can't find it on Podbean anymore. So send me your question again. I might tweet this podcast at you or something and ask. But yeah, we want to answer your question, but I don't know what it was. So hey, Dale, write us.
Also, there is a parked Toyota Camry. Your lights are still on. It's a red Toyota Camry.
If it's not gone in the next 30 minutes, it will be towed.
If you like this show, please do the podcast version of like, share, and subscribe, and follow us on iTunes and leave a review. Preferably a 5-star review, but, you know, we'll take 4.
Have we gotten a review yet?
That's a good question. I will get on that for next time.
Bye, everybody. Have a good week.
YouTubeunited.com. Wait, no.
.net.
Wait. .net! Yes!